Here today with Coach Kevin Pettis. Been a head coach in Georgia, head coach in Florida, and met him last year at FACA. He's real active in the FACA, officer, I believe. Is that true?
I was FHSA board member, yes.
FHSA board member, okay. I knew that, and actually met him last year at the FACA conference, and I mean, we hit it off, and it was like we've known each other forever. Started telling stories, and he you know, we found out and knew some of the same people, and Coach James Thompson told me he absolutely had to be the first one on here. I know he coached at Pacelli House. He's a head coach at Pacelli House School, left there and went to Dr. Phillips in Orlando, and then left there and went to, what was the name of the place? DeLand, and then left DeLand and went to
Crestview.
I missed Crestview. It was Crestview and then what was it, Seabreeze?
No, then it was Sebastian River down by Vero Beach.
Sebastian River, and then from Sebastian River to Childs.
Correct, yep.
And then this last year served as OC at Mariana. And, Coach, I know one thing that made me laugh is, I mean, I guess because I know about where Pacelli was, and, you know, they won a state championship last year in GIAA, but the story you told about going to interview for that job, something about when you rode up, who was coming out or something. I can't remember, but just.
Hey, I tell you, man, I had thought about that since the FACA. No joke. So I go up there, and we just won a state championship in Perry in Taylor County, Florida. And I was like, you know, it's time for me to go be a head coach, and all I'd ever dreamed about. And so I got on that Georgia dent, and I started looking. This is at this point in time, it was probably 99. I remember everybody was scared to death that the damn banks, your credit cards wasn't going to work when we got to the new year, you know, because the computers are supposed to reset. It's going to be the end of the world.
Y2K going to kill us.
2K going to kill us. I remember staying up waiting to see what happened. And the lights didn't go off. Everything, the time on the TV changed like it was supposed to. So anyway, I'd seen in my resume, and the reason I was looking at it, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be very good at this thing. And that was honest God truth. I've been an assistant coach, and I loved what I was doing. I was OC, and I just loved what I was doing. But I was like, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be very good at this. So, I'm going to go out there and find a job that I can't fail at, that it can't be terrible. No matter what, I'll be better. And so, sure enough, I got that Pacelli job, or I applied for the Pacelli job. And the principal called me, set up an interview, and I'm like, heck yeah, man. I'll come there and talk to y'all for sure. And I remember I left Perry that day in my truck, drove up there and got there on K-Circle at Pacelli High School. And it was an afternoon job or afternoon interview. And so I'm sitting there, or early the evening interview. And so the guy called me and said, well, depending on the number of interviewees, he says, do you want the first or the last? Well, I always heard that the first impressions were best, but the last impressions were better, you know. So I said, I want to go last. And he goes, and I'm serious, Chris, I thought, there's got to be something, because I was thinking, he goes, when he was telling me, and I can't think of the principal's name right now, but he goes...
was it John Albert?
No, John Albert was my guy, though. He was there when I was there, but, well, I got some stories about that, too. And Dr. Swearing, golly, I got some stories. But anyway, so when we get there, and he goes, he says, Coach, he said, we're going to do afternoon interviews. The interviews are going to start. He goes, you know, you're my second call. he says the interviews are going to start at 6 o'clock, and we're going to give everybody 45 minutes, 15-minute break, and then on the hour we'll start us, okay? He said, you'll be first or last. I said, I want to be last. He said, we'll make you last. He said, I'll give you a call when it gets closer. I said, awesome. That's great. And so about 3 days before the interview, he calls me after it closes, Coach, and now they're starting at 5 o'clock or something, whatever it was. He calls and says, Coach, your interview's at 6.
So there's 2 of you.
There's 2. Like, good God. And there was some guy on the vent. He's something, I can't remember his name, but he was like Pacelli Glenn or Hardaway Glenn or something crazy.
Oh, yeah, Glennis Hardaway, yeah. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he was like a adult special needs guy that like followed.
1,000%.
Yeah, and he was like a huge fan, and that was like his way to, that was his, like he couldn't play, he wasn't an athlete, but that was like his way to be active and involved.
And so, like, I'm sitting there getting emails like 8 a day from this guy to the point I'm like, hey, dude, I can't just answer your email,
Yeah, he's like super fan.
Super fan, yeah, unreal. And so, anyway, so the interview comes, and I walked in there, and I'm in a tie, and you know me now, I don't wear ties. That's the last time I wore a tie. Honest God. Last time I wore a tie, and this is like, and it was so cold up there in Columbus, it was like February. And look, I was so broke, dude. I drove my truck. I left Perry that morning or that afternoon, drove straight to Columbus, interviewed, and drove straight back. So I get there, and I'm sitting out there on this church pew out there in the hallway because it was connected to a school, to a church, St. Anne's, and I'm sitting out there on this pew, and I got there a little bit early because I didn't want to be late. And about that time, the door opens. And I'm waiting. See who's walking out. Nobody's walking. I hear some, like, metal clanking on the door and shit like that. I'm like, what in the world? And about that time, I was looking, how you kind of trying to look away, and out the corner of my eye, dude, I see some feet coming out near the thing, but they weren't walking. And I look up, and the guy just kind of wheels out in the wheelchair. Wheels right past me. And I said, well, hell, I got to be able to get this shot. If I don't get this shot, we in trouble. Like, I'm just going to go back, be an OC, coach no line, and I got to be happy with that goal. They ain't no way. This dude can get it above me. Ain't no way. And so I walk in there, and the whole time I'm in that interview, and they're popping questions off at me, I'm thinking, like, guys, are we really doing this? Like, are we going through this? Are we going through the process? I just need to know if we're going through the process. But y'all can end this right now. Like, what? Give me the job. So I remember, let me tell you something. I remember sitting down for that interview at Pacelli, and I'm going to be honest, I tell people this all the time. Dude, I've had, and I talk about 2 jobs that I've had in my life. Honest to God. I talk about, and I tell people, guys, I've applied for jobs, and I've gotten 2 jobs. My first 2 jobs, the first job was a job that nobody in the country wanted. Nobody wanted that Pacelli job. Me and the guy in the wheelchair.
That was it.
Applied for this job, and I think he was like, he did something with the church, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know how he got in there. And I was like, and I had a job at Dr. Phillips where 255 people applied, a job everybody wanted, And I loved that job at Pacelli. But I remember when I got the job, the principal calls me, and he says, Coach, and I'll never forget, and the reason I brought that up was, it was the same day as this. It was like New Year's Eve, or like it was like I'm waiting on the daggum world to end, right? And he calls me that early evening and said, "Hey, would you come be? I need you to be our AD." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take it." And I remember I go up there and there's a guy that was that took the job for 1 year, Nathan Rustin. I don't know if anybody remembers that name, but he was played for Coach Bryan at Alabama. He was a Phoenix City legend. In fact, there was a picture in his office of a picture of him in Phoenix City, Coach Bryan, and who was the governor of Alabama that got shot?
Wallace.
Something Wallace. Yeah.
George Wallace.
George Wallace. There's a picture of Nathan, Bear Bryant, and George Wallace where when he signed or whatever in his office. And I was like, dude, that's pretty cool there. But he ended up being the assistant principal, God rest his soul. Anyway, so we get there, and he was the one showing us around. So I go for the interview, and then he was going to take me around and show me the facilities. And we were walking down the hall, and he said, and I'll never forget, I mean, I almost can remember who was on. I remember the classroom. They taught science in there for forever. And I can remember he was walking me around, and as we start walking across the parking lot to the gym, he said, "Coach, I said, look, I just got to ask you." I said, "What is it, Coach?" And he goes, "I looked at your resume," and he goes, "Did they fire you in Taylor County?" I said, "No, they didn't fire me." He goes, "Well, then why in the world would you want this job?" I said, "Coach," I was like, "I'm just trying to break you into being a head coach, and I thought it was a good job." He goes, "Well," I said, "Why did you do it last year?" He goes, "Well, I'm going to be honest with you. The only reason I did it was I didn't want the program to die." He goes, "I've been here forever, and I just didn't want it to die." So anyway, we're walking around. Nathan Rustin, great dude. And so we're walking around, and he showed me the facility. He goes, "This is the gym." And I was like, "That's awesome." And he goes, "This is the log." Everything was good. I said, "Well, where's the weight room?" He goes, "Well," he said, "I'm going to be honest with you." He says, "Back when I was in school, when I went to Alabama, weightlifting wasn't, we didn't do a whole lot of lifting weights." He goes, "So we really didn't utilize it." I said, "Okay, well, can I see the area?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, he takes us into the weight room. "Coach, I promise you, it's a great big old area. Half of it was, you remember those little office partitions with like foam board or pin boards where you get,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, they had half of it pinned off, like with those little things all the way across. And I want to say Cobus or Corbus or something like that was the principal's name. Now that I just remember. Anyway, and so they were all roped off, and there was a old Universal machine where you had bench press on one. You know what I'm saying? Like little, you just had benches and you just kind of rotated around. That's all they had in there. And I'm like, "Coach, and at the time, Georgia didn't have weightlifting as a sport, but in Florida we did, and I did it when I was in high school. "Coach, is this all that they have?" He goes, "Yeah, this is it." I'm like, "Oh my God, there's no way." So, and he looked at me, he goes, "This is no joke, we're walking across." I said, "Do they have any film of what how they did everything, from the last year's team?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll give you every one of them." He gave them to me, and we're walking across the parking lot, and I'm like, "Coach, how did it get this way?" He goes, "Well, look here, Coach." He goes, and now Nathan Rustin, anybody out there that knows Nathan Rustin was the greatest person I had ever met in my life. He was my relief, because every time it got bad, I would go see Nathan. Nathan would be like, Coach, hang in there. So as we were walking across the parking lot, he said, Coach, he goes, I don't know if you know this, but the guy that interviewed before you was in a wheelchair. I said, yeah, I got here early. He goes, yeah. He was in a wheelchair, so you know he can't demonstrate how to block and tackle. He goes, so hell, I'm sure you got the job. I was like, well, can I get some feel for where y'all play like? He goes, yeah. He goes, Coach. He goes, I'm embarrassed by it. But I did it because I was just the AD, and I was doing it for a year, and it was just, I'm about to retire, and I did it so that the program, they asked me to do it for 1 year so they could find a coach. I was like, all right, cool. And so he gave me the film. Hey, and I promise you, Lamb, this is no joke. So I take it home. I'm so excited. I can barely wait to get home. I get home, it's late, and I go in there and I put it in the VCR. That's how long ago it was, and I'm watching it, Coach. The first game I watched was Pacelli versus Central Talbot.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, and it was so bad. And I look at it, I'm watching, and I'm looking at it, and this is the first game, and so I'm watching it, and I'm like, what? And I look down there on the sideline from how Pacelli filmed it, and they was the guy down there. They were, I don't remember if they were spray painting a 1 to make it a 7, or I don't know what they were doing, but they were making it so it was an eligible number. And I thought, and I just come off of Perry where it beat Clewiston for the state championship. And I'm thinking, there is no way this is happening right here in front of me. There ain't no way.
We paint numbers on jerseys.
On jerseys. Like, it is unreal. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Ooh-wee.
It is bad. And let me tell you something. And when and they were filming, this is back when they filmed everything. Like, you let it run. Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, they didn't break in and break out the huddle.
It was like from the space shuttle or something. Like space station. I'm like, there's no way. And I remember watching it, and I was getting there, like, what in the world are they doing? And so I watched this mess, and I'm like, there's no way this is just happening. And so, and I see Central talking to get, and they're warming up, and they're filming them warming up, and they're filming them doing offensive plays and defense. I'm like, there's no way Pacelli is fixing to beat that bunch. There is no way. Ain't no way. They look like Greek gods at some stuff. Then I watched them start playing. I was like, oh my God. And I'm telling you, it wasn't even a good pillow fight. Not even a good pillow fight. I'm like, this is terrible. This is awful.
How long did you stay at Pacelli?
I was there for 5 years, and we won 30 games in a row, regular season games in a row. We had 3 years undefeated. It was great. And I'll never forget, probably one of the best moments of my entire head coaching career, which I've been a head coach for 25 years. I'm telling you right now, or 24 years, whatever it is, the best job that we ever done, I'll never forget it. We beat Miller County, where they hadn't lost a region game in forever, and they had Brandon Miller there, and we beat them for the region championship. I mean, we won the region championship 2 or 3 years in a row there, or 3 years in a row, and it was phenomenal. It was probably the greatest feeling. And I'll never forget at Pacelli, we had a priest, and he was finally an athletic priest. Hold on, I got to go back. I got to talk about the priest for a minute, Coach. God dang. Listen, so then I'm going to get to Miller County. But listen, we go in that mug, and it's my first year. I was jazzed up. Me and Nathan are going through the helmets. I said, Coach Russell, what the hell is this? And I pull a helmet out, and I said, I've never seen this in my life. He goes, that's old school helmet. I I said, it's got webbing. I swear. I'm like, dude, there's 8 of these. Like,
we didn't even play in those.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, the only thing you could do to that helmet was fold it up and put it in your back pocket. I'm serious. The only thing you couldn't do was fold it up and put it in your back pocket. I said, Coach, my God. He goes, oh, we didn't use them. I said, hell, I'm glad nobody's going to jail then. So I never forget. We go in there, and I go to Father Shrek, who's a great dude, love him to this day. He made it work being there, and I went up to Father. I said, I got to buy a new helmet. I took the Rydell guy with me, Jim Anderson. I said, Jim, you got to go with me. He goes, why? I said, because ain't nobody going to believe this. We didn't have, this is no joke, we only had 12 helmets. 12 helmets. That was not over 10 years old.
Good Lord.
As a father, we got to have helmets, or we got to cut a lot of people. And so I remember we ordered helmets. You know, Jim Anderson from Rydell, he rented me a truck to move to Columbus, and I remember we was living in an apartment that, you know, and so there was so many. Like, I'm writing a book that I'm gonna hopefully one day publish, and I've kept notes from all these things, and this is one of them. And I'm like, so me and Jim get there. We got a Rydell truck, and we go and we empty it off in the apartment. I go to the high school, and I had one of the assistant coaches have the kids come and help me move in. I'm back there, and one of my coaches from Perry goes to see this one kid named Matt Jones, who, by the way, is doing extremely well in his realm. He's in real estate now in Panama City. Love the dude. Matt Jones is the offensive lineman. He walked by, and Coach Kazai, who was the guy that helped one of my guys that helped me, that I coached with, he looked at old Matt and says, hey, son, do you like doing up down? He goes, what's an up down? He said, oh, don't worry about it. The way this place looks, you'll find out day one what a dag goes. And so we get there, we move in. And anyway, it was an absolute. The first year, it was good. We had some. It was just. It was so much fun. I was there for 5 years, and you know, I remember going through and I asked the principal, Mr. Cobus, I cannot remember. Anyway, I said, can I, how many people can I bring in? He said, well, the coach, none, 0. I go, what? He goes, none. He said, we got to make it work. I said, okay, so who do I have from last year? He gave me their names, and I call all these people. Can you meet with me at this time? Yes. So they come through there, and they said, so I thought I was just interviewing for the head job. And when he called me, and this sounds so pitiful right now, you're going to laugh. And this is in 99. He calls me when he offers me the job. The principal says, hey, we want you to come be the head coach. What will it take to get you here? And I've applied for, I was offered verbally the head job at Thomasville High School back in probably 2012 or 13. And the guy said, hey, tell me how many coaches, tell me what it's going to take, blah, blah, blah. Well, so anyway, he says, Coach, we want you to come be our head coach. This is the principal. I was like, that's awesome. Will you do it? I'm like, yeah, but how much is it? And he said, well, what would it take to get you here? And I thought I was shooting for the stars. And I said, because I thought to myself, I said, look, I'm going to give him a number that he's not going to take, but maybe he'll come back and renegotiate. I said, $45,000, and I'm your guy. He said, done. That tells you how bad it is here in Florida. But anyway, I said, he goes, done. He goes, but you got to be my AD. Awesome. I'll be your AD. So anyway, I get there, and I start calling coaches in. And for everybody that's listening, that's a Columbus, Georgia person, So one of the guys that comes in, he was a young guy, was at Columbus State, majored in education, about to graduate. He comes walking through the door. I call him. His name was Jeff Battles, who is now the AD for Muscogee County. Greatest, love the guy. Oh, Meat, that was his nickname in college. I forgot what fraternity he was in, but he went by Meat. And so we get there, and I call him up and say, hey, Coach Battles, this is Kevin Pettis. Can you come by and interview with me? He says, yes, sir, what time? I said, hey, can we do 9 o'clock? And I should have known if he was still in college by the graduation, not to do it 9 o'clock. I said, can you do 9 o'clock on Monday morning? He goes, yes. I said, awesome. So as I'm walking in there and I'm waiting on him, he's late. I'm like, well, he didn't show up. So I'm walking by. The next thing you know, he walks in with a white shirt. And the reason I know his nickname was Meat was because his undershirt in the back had his fraternity number and the word Meat written across the back of it like a football jersey. Shirt was so wrinkled. Oh, it looked like a sharp A-dog. I was like, son, this now I'm 30 years old. He's probably 21. I'm like, look, I know I'm not that far removed from college, but dang, could you have ironed his shirt?
Throw it in the dryer or something.
Something. He said, Coach, I'm so sorry. I go, hey, look here. I'm going to be real with you, dog. You got the job. Do you want to come back? That's how it is. That's what I'm starting to see right now. So anyway, it was so much fun at Pacelli. It was the greatest time of my life, honest to God.
Was that the place where the coach called you in the middle of the night that you had to come get him?
Oh, I'm about to tell you. Randy Grace.
Just call him out, Coach.
That's my dog. I love him. He's in Jacksonville. He is the Windsor Academy head coach of the company that won the state championship. Is it Windsor Academy? Is that a
Yeah, Macon. Yeah.
Yeah. So Grace, love that dude, man. I absolutely love Randy Grace. One of my favorite people all time. So we're sitting there, dude. I swear to God, I think I let you listen to it at the clinic, right?
Yeah.
So Randy Grace was the head coach at Montgomery County. And what's his name that was at Swainsboro for a while? He was there too. He was the head coach before Randy was, and left and went to Swainsboro? Yeah. Anyway, I can't remember names anymore. I'm getting old. But anyway, so Randy Grace was the head coach of Montgomery County, and we played them. And my first year, Randy Grace and I got to be buddies. And so anyway, after he got let go at Montgomery County, he calls me. He said, hey, man, I got let go at Montgomery County. Are you interested in hiring anybody? I said, well, look, I know you spread it out. I said, but I'll use you as the defense coordinator. He goes, all right. He goes, but I've never coached defense. I said, I'll teach you everything you need to know. So he listen, and I hate to say this on live television or radio or whatever it is, but here's what I'm telling you. And he'll tell you the biggest scam ever committed. I got so many Randy Grace stories on the history of education. I said, Randy, we got a computer science job open. Have you ever taken computer science? He said, no. I said, all right, well, are you interested in computer science? He said, not really. I said, okay, Randy. I said, do you own a computer? He goes, no. I said, have you ever taken a computer class in your life? He said, I've taken a typing class. I'm like, shit, son. I go, do you have a computer at school? Yes. Deal. Here's what we're going to do, bud. You need to tell these people you're going to get your master's in computer science. He goes, yeah, that's it. That's all you got to do, bud. And so we go there and we get him the job in computer science. so he becomes a very integral part. Like, the biggest claim to fame he has, in my opinion, other than winning a state championship at Windsor and all that, was this. And we played at Pacelli when it was playing in the GHSA. You know that. And I was region coach of the year 3 years in a row, whatever. I mean, we played when it was real. It was Taylor County. It was Miller County. I mean, it was a great little deal. And so he shut out Brookstone 3 years in a row. 3-0. That was our big deal. And so, anyway, he gets the job there. Such a great dude. Loved Randy Gray. So anyway, he became friends with people in town, and so we'd paint the field on Thursday nights. We'd go out there painting. He'd go out on Thursday because, you know, Columbus is still a college town with Columbus State there, right? People, so where he was a young kid, not married, you know, and so he would go out on Thursday nights. Well, so we kind of got on a winning streak. Like, and at one time we had Randy Grace, the Mathis guy who is the AD at Columbus High, Jeff Battles, who's the county AD. I mean, we had a great little staff there. And so so Randy Grace, we kind of got on a winning streak, and he'd go out on Thursday night. And, or on Wednesday nights. It was Wednesday nights. He'd go out on Wednesday night, him with some buddies, so he'd go out on Wednesday night, and everything was good. There's a place there in Columbus called the Brickyard or something like that, or Brick House, something like that, or I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, what's the downtown of Atlanta that they went off and tried to make their own city? Peachtree or something.
Oh, yeah. Peachtree Corners or
something like that. Yeah. There was a place there in Columbus that was named the same, one of these big restaurants in Atlanta. You know, anyway, so, well, anyway, there's a guy, he comes up to me, because he ain't a coach, I ain't going to put his name like that, he comes up to me, he says, "Hey, man, did you get a call from Grace last night?" I said, "Yeah, like 4 of them, but I was asleep." Well, let me back up. So we painted the field, initial paint on Wednesday, did a walkthrough on Thursday, and then we'd finish it up Thursday night. Well, so we did the paint job on Wednesday, and we kind of got on a win streak going, and Grace would come in on Thursday, and he wasn't feeling good. So anyway, he said, "Dude, I can't go out tonight." And I'm like, "No, bitch, you going out tonight." I said, "We ain't changing what we're doing. We got the field. Don't worry about the field." He said, I'm broke. I said, "Here's 50. Go. Have a good time." So he goes out. The next morning, I'll just say that Mr. Batten pulls up. He goes, "Hey, man." He goes, "Did you get a call from Grace?" I said, "Yeah, like 4, but I was asleep." And then I figured he comes in late anyway. He goes, "Listen to this." So he pulls up his voicemail, and it's Grace whispering into the phone. Yelling into the phone. "Hey, Matt." And you can hear the sirens going off in the background. He goes, "Hey, man." He goes, "Hey," and I can't remember his name. He goes, "I'm sitting here, and hey, listen to me. Hey, they locked me in the bathroom. I got locked in the bathroom. I can't go out." He's like, "The alarm starts going off. Dude, call me back. I need to hurry." About this time, you hear all these sirens going on. He goes, "Oh my God, the cops are at the door. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" It's like, I am absolutely dying. He shows up to work that day, pissed off at me.
It's your fault.
He left me out there, dude. What are you talking about, guys? I'm like, I didn't get that. Like, it was the funniest thing you have ever heard in your life. That he got locked into this bar, passed out in the stall, or whatever. He said he fell asleep. Whatever he did. But I tell you, there were some other things that were so good about that whole job. So one day, this is no joke, Mr. Albert, this is a Mr. Albert story. Mr. Albert, so it was a Thursday, so
I worked for him at Aquinas, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he's a different dude.
Different dude. I got to tell you about the dinner we had at his house. It was insane. Anyway, he's a French guy, I guess. I don't know. I ain't never ate. Only thing French I've ever eaten is French fries. And I'm telling you, anyway, that's another story. But, so we go in there, and so I had a little duty first there, so I'm walking down the hallway, or no, it's at lunch, after lunch. So I walk by Grace's computer lab. I look in there, and I see Mr. Albert sitting in his chair at his desk. I'm like, hey, Mr. Albert. As I'm walking to the front office, he goes, come here, Coach. And I walk in there. You know how he talks. Come here, Coach. Like crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, sir. He goes, where is Mr. Grace? I said, well, I know he's been here. I don't know. So I lead him. And as soon as I get out of earsight from him, I get on the phone. I'm like, well, first I asked him, so what's going on with Mr. Albert? He goes, well, he has his evaluation. I'm like, oh, awesome, okay. I don't know. Let me find out. So I get on the phone, and I'm like, he answers. I'm like, Grace, where are you at, dude? He goes, oh, man, I'm sleeping it off in my storage closet back there behind, like he had a little storage area behind, you know, teachers have that little room. Well, he had an in room, you know, a little storage area. You probably he goes, I'm in my storage closet taking a nap. I said, well, hey, dummy. I says, Mr. Albert is in your classroom sitting at your desk with students waiting on you. Oh, my God. Well, I am dying. So I take off running. So, hauling butt, man. I'm running down the deck outside where Albert could see me. And I go around where I can look through the big windows in the bushes and watch Randy Grace come out of there. The greatest day of my life. Run! And I get in there and I watch it. Grace walks in there, and I'm telling you, Randy Grace is a professional. He is a pro. I'm telling you. He needs to be on Def Comedy Jam. I'm telling you. He's a pro. He walks out. He goes, hey, Mr. Albert. I'm in shock. Hey, Mr. Albert. Hey, sorry. I was having to put the computers up in the storage, up in the attic. I'm sorry. My bad. Hey, guys, I need everybody to log on to your computers. Use this as, I'm like, what is happening? He goes through, I'm so flabbergasted. I am absolutely dying. He goes to electric plan like a champion, like didn't misspeak or stay in terms I'd never even heard of before. Wait, look at my nose.
Me and you were getting fired that day.
Like I couldn't have come through that. That day, that was Randy Grace was that kind of a dude, man.
Teacher of the Year, he won it that day.
He should have. He did. He's been up for it. I tell you. Hey, I got to tell you about the dinner at Albert's house. Well, I'm from a little town called Weewall, Florida. And I'm so country. My birthday cake was cornbread growing up. It was bad. So I'm up here and I'm hobnobbing with these cats. You know, one of my best friend was Jimmy Hall, who owned all the kicking chickens there in Columbus, you know, and I don't know nothing. I'm just old country boy. So anyway, we go there, and I'm hobnobbing with some of these big timers up there that went to St. Anne's Church. And so Mr. Albert, he comes to me and he goes, now when I was there, I'd had like 3 principals, right? And so John, when he first got there, he called me into his office. He said, Coach, he says, I was told that I could make any change I want to make at the school with the exception of you. I said, huh? He says, my marching orders is I can replace, change, fire anybody but you. Can't touch you. I said, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. This is a vote of confidence right here. And now we'd already finished our first undefeated season, so I'm like, okay, cool. And so he goes, he goes, I'd like to have you over for dinner. You and your wife over for dinner. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's say 7:30. And honestly, I'm thinking, 7:30, that late? Like, dude, you're an hour and a half of my bedtime. Like, that ain't my cup of tea. So we go in there, and they have this cheese. As we're sitting there talking, it was me and my wife, him and his wife, and I think another couple. I can't remember who it was. And so I'm sitting there, and they got this cheese out with some crackers, and this cheese is oozing out of like what? That ain't even like cheese. Like, where's the Velveeta? Where's the cheddar? Where's something? And I go, Mr. Albert, I ain't never seen cheese ooze like that unless it was on a grilled cheese. And it was Velveeta. He goes, Mr. Pettis, it is a brie. I was like, what? Brie? Is that a cheese? He goes, yes. I said, cool, I ain't eating. I'm good. So we go, we have the little things. So then we go, and I didn't know this. So, like, every single dish, Coach, is its own little deal. Like, they give you, like, you walk out there and they bring you your appetizer. Okay. It's one little thing. You eat it up. Then they come out here and they bring you your salad. Okay. You eat it up. And then they go to the kitchen and bring out your main course. Okay. Well, then you eat it up. And then they come out there and they bring you your dessert. Okay. Then you eat it up. And then they bring you out your palate cleanser. And so I'm sitting here like, what in the hell are we doing?
This is at the man's house.
At the man's house.
Ain't a restaurant. This is at his house.
Not a restaurant, at his house in Columbus, Georgia, right behind the Mormon church, right there on Macon Road or whatever it is.
Ooh-wee.
What? God damn, what we doing? And I'm sitting there looking at my wife like, hey, dude, this is ridiculous. Dude, it is 10:30 when we get the palate cleaned. I'm like, yeah, for you listeners, and Mr. Albert, I don't even know where he's at now. They look at this dude. I mean, he is about, I don't know, probably 5'8", maybe, right? And about no less than 400 pounds.
He was a big man when I worked for him, yes.
Big man. And I'm telling you something, if you just walked up behind him, and I'm speaking from experience, and just kind of tugged on his trousers, they were falling straight to the floor. You ain't got to tug hard. Just ease them up like big belly guy. Plus we go. And so so we get done eating, and I'm like, oh my God. So we leave there, and I'm like, never again, never again, never again. So he goes, the next day, he goes, Coach, what did you think of your meal last night? I said, I thought all the food was delicious. Tell your wife, I said, I appreciate it. Thank you. He said, okay, good. I'm glad you, I said, I did. The tasted great. It was awesome. I said, I don't know what the dessert was. I said, but it's kind of like heated up pudding. Am I right? He goes, Coach. That was creme brulee. He said, creme brulee. I said, what's it made out of? And he said, well, it's more of a cuss. I said, so pudding. I was right. Pudding. I said, it was good. I said, but I do have a question for you here. What's that? Is there any way you could have served all that at one time? He goes, that's not how the French do it. I said, well, it's a good thing I'm not in France. Like, my God, it took forever. He goes, what was the town you said you were from? I said, yeah, Weewalt. My God, that wouldn't happen in Weewalt. I promise you. We'd have had to put all them other things done in 30 minutes. We'd have been out. So, but I loved Albert. So we got investigated, dude. We got investigated. This Dr. Swearingen. So we had a couple kids this is back when Shaw was Shaw. Charlie Flowers was the head coach, and so I go to a Georgia Tech clinic, and there's a couple kids from Columbus out there throwing the ball, and there's a kid named Chucky Joe McQuarrie. Chucky Joe, and I told this to everybody in the world. People have called me, especially when Pacelli won the state championship at GISA, and they said, hey, y'all were there. Y'all were the original ones that turned it around. I said, yeah, but I said, they asked, I said, look, I didn't turn anything around. I said, it can all 100% be contributed to a young kid named Chucky Joe McQuarrie. He was a backup quarterback at Shaw. I saw him at a clinic, and I talked to him, and I was working the clinic, and Steve Campbell was the O-line coach at a lot of Georgia Tech. Was the O-line coach at Georgia Tech, and Steve and I played football together at Troy, and so I stayed up there for a couple of days helping them work the camp. Anyway, Chucky Joe transfers to Pacelli. Well, he had already left Shaw, went from Shaw to Spencer because he wanted to be the guy, and he really transferred from Spencer to us, but he just hadn't attended class there. And then his cousin, anyway, it became like an influx of kids came to Pacelli, like 4 or 5 of them. And so when he come over there, and this was like the day we started, maybe we'd already started football practice, I'm not sure. But anyway, so I called Charles Flowers and said, hey, dude, I got this guy from Spencer, but he said he played for you. I want to talk to you because me and Charles are good friends. I said, Chucky Joe McQuarrie's the coach, great player, can run, can do all these. I mean, he is a great player. I said, great. I said, he's at your school. I said, yeah. I said, and Chris Gamey is too. I said, Josh Bland is, and Gordon Griswold. He goes, who? I said, Gordon Griswold. Wait. And I said, and Chris Gamey. Wait. The last three, he's like, wait. I go, why? He goes, they played for me. I go, I don't know. They enrolled in school, coach. He's like, oh, no. And so I was like, Coach, I'm just telling you. I got a call. I've never spoke to those people in my life. So anyway, we go through this whole deal, and so we go undefeated, and we're killing it. I mean, we had Matt Dunham, who broke Robert Toombs' record for touchdowns. And, we're just killing it. So anyway, we get to the last game of the season, or we get a couple weeks before the last game where we played Brookstone, and so we get a call. Dr. Swearingen calls me. He said, Coach Pettis, hey, wasn't his name Ralph Swearingen?
Yes.
He goes, Coach, this is Ralph Swearingen. I said, hey, Dr. Swearingen. He's like, what's going on there? And he goes, and I try to get involved and get to know all those people, whatever state I'm in. So I said, hey, he goes, we got a complaint. It's okay. He said, I'm going to send it to you. I just need you to send me everything you got on it, and that way we can get it cleared up, especially y'all are undefeated before the playoffs. I said, okay, awesome. So he calls me, and he goes, you'll be getting a letter today. I said, okay. I said, I'm glad you called me. First, I go up there and tell my principal because he's a nervous Nancy. He'll absolutely lose his mind. Am I right?
Correct. Because he ain't no athletic guy.
No, not even close.
Don't care nothing about athletics.
None. And I know if John Albert ever walked across that parking lot. It was serious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you had to talk to him, it was not he wasn't asking you how your day was.
And he wasn't coming all the way out there.
Negative.
Like, he'd call you on the phone. And so I was like, I'm glad you called me because I ain't going to answer the phone the rest of the day. And so I said, yeah, I'll send you, when I get the letter, I'll send you everything we got. It's all legit. We talked for a while. He goes, I've never had a problem with you guys. I'm not worried about it. But I got a coach who's complaining about it. So I get on the phone. I call Charles. I said, Coach Flowers, I called you about these people. You know I didn't recruit these kids. He goes, I know, but my parents are on me. And I'm like, okay, because y'all are killing it. And I said, but y'all are too. I mean, y'all are too. And he goes, but, you know, we got some injuries now. Now they're, I said, okay, whatever. But you know we didn't. He goes, I've already talked to Swear Engine and told him that you called me the day they showed up. I said, well, I appreciate it. So anyway, so I hang up, and about that time, I mean, it wasn't, I knew what time the mail ran, and about that time we're getting ready to go out, and this was a Friday, Coach. This was a Friday. And we got a game, and we're playing Taylor County at Doughboy Stadium at Fort Benning, because I knew some guys from when I served at Benning, and so we were going to play at Doughboy Stadium. We're playing Taylor County. We're about to get on the bus, and I look up, and here comes Albert across the parking lot. I'm like, boy, this ain't good. So he comes across there and says, Coach, can I see you for a minute? Just nervous as he can be. I said, yeah, come on. He says, I got this letter, certified mail. He goes, and I think you need to read it. I said, hold on a minute. And I loved to mess with Albert. I loved it. It was better than anything under the planet when you could mess with. Because once he told me I was untouchable, well, then I'm just gonna mess with you now. I'm gonna enjoy myself. And I said, hold on a minute. I bet I know who it's from. He said, there's no way you could ever know. I says, GHSA. Why, yes, Mr. Pettis. That's who it's from. I said, let me think. I said, I bet it's about Chucky Joe McQuarrie, Josh Bland, Gordon Griswold, Chris Gaines. How could you ever know that? I said, look, you know, my dad's a Pentecostal preacher, dude. We ain't a Catholic, so I know. He goes, I don't think you should talk like that. I said, listen, I talked to Dr. Swearingen earlier today. I said, I've already sent him all the stuff. He said, you didn't let me see it. I said, why? I said, it's just a statement of power from Georgia Power. I don't know what else I could. That's all we can send. Is when they enroll, what we can send to them. He goes, okay, well, good job. I said, hey, you know how many times you tell me to stay in my lane? He goes, yes, I'm staying in your lane. I got this. We're good. So we go on, and we beat Taylor County. We come back, and we're getting ready to play something at McIntosh Academy,
MCA, McIntosh County Academy, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that was the school. So we're playing them at our place. That was the day that the quarterback turned around and spiked it. But he turned around completely backwards and spiked it, and we scored and beat them. They were trying to win the game. But anyway, so long story short, we're getting ready to play them. And I'll tell you, we already got done with pregame meal. We're taping. He comes down there so giddy, like just shaking his hands like a lady, like she's trying to draw off the dang fingernails. You know how they do. And he goes, Coach, we got cleared. I was like, what? I said, I told you they what. I mean, like, we didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. He was just so funny. I mean, John Albert, my God. I used to joke with him, like, don't you wish he'd have cut that eyebrow, though?
He was a different dude now.
Now, he came from Aquinas up.
Yeah, I was at Aquinas in the late 90s, from 95 to 2000. And he left Aquinas and went to Pacelli because we were sister schools with with Pacelli, and I'm not Catholic, so I didn't know what was going on with that part of it. Anytime they had any of that kind of stuff going on, but I know he's left.
You didn't ever go to any of the teacher conferences. Remember how they would have those little things?
Yeah, I didn't get invited.
And so like me either.
Yeah.
Like, hey, y'all don't invite me.
I mean, like they'd have Ash Wednesday, and they'd have the cross on their forehead, and I look at the kids and be like, "Hey, you got something on your forehead?" And they're like,
"I did that."
Dude, it's Ash Wednesday, and I'm like, that just means Easter's almost here to me. I mean, I didn't know. And then, like, first time we said the Lord's Prayer, and they didn't say, "For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory." And kids like they're like elbowing me, going, "Coach, coach, coach!" And I went, "What?" And the kid that was Methodist that went to school there was like, "Coach, they don't say that part." And I was like, "Oh." It took me a while to kind of learn all the little ins and outs, but.
So we went Father Madden, my first year. Father Madden, we'd go to Country's Barbecue in Columbus to eat pregame meal. Well, Father Madden was the priest. We had Father Straight was the head honcho, and then you had Father Madden and another one, a big old heavy set guy. And so the heavy set guy was my favorite, but Father Madden was an Irishman. I think it was Madden. Anyway, so he would go to my first ever. We're playing Mount Zion. We're getting ready we're doing a pregame meal, or maybe it was, I can't remember, Trinity up there near Mount Zion or something. They were coming and playing us. Anyway, we're getting ready to say the blessing. And he starts saying the prayer. This is no joke, Coach. He goes, "Father, I know that we never win. And I know that chances of us winning tonight are not very good. But I want us to play with great sports." I said, "Excuse me, Father, appreciate you. Thank you." I interrupted. I thank you. I said, "Hey, everybody bow your head." And I'm sitting there, and I was like, my first year, I wanted to use the Joe Pesci of My Cousin Vinny. Everything that guy just said is bullshit, God. It's what I wanted to say. So I give him a good old Pentecostal holiness prayer. And he walks out. Father Shrek calls me the next Monday, and I told him what he said. He goes, "Well, you should stop." I said, "Appreciate it." Like, dang. Golly. Dude, I'm telling you, Pacelli's got a lot of, it's got a lot of places in my book that I'm going to write. Pacelli was a different animal, brother. Hey, but I got to tell you one more story. I know we've been on the phone a while. I got to tell you this story, though. So we had, and I'm not going to use his name, but he was a colonel at Fort Benning. And all of your listeners who served in the Army out of Fort Benning, you know how these colonels are. They are know-it-alls. They know everything about everything. And his son played offensive line for me. And anybody from Pacelli listening that played back in the early 2000s will know he talked with a lift like that. Not the dad, the kid. But anyway, so he was hammering me up in the stands. Hammering me. Now, look, we ran the wing tee, the wings. We ran the wing tee, and, and it was great. And, man, we had a 1,000-yard rusher every year. It was great. So, anyway, we get up there, and I'm sitting there, and he's hammering me in the stand. And my wife becomes like, "Hey, there's this one guy. Like, oh, my God, he is killing you in the stand." And we're getting that first year, getting the brakes beat off us. And we're playing Miller County, or maybe it's Taylor County. They had a daggum wing back tight end type that was so big and strong and fast. Anyway, he's like, "Man," he was telling me these plays and what you should be doing. I said, "Well, next time, tell him to come down and give them to him. We're getting beat that bad. I might need them. Just tell him to bring them." And so, anyway, he comes up to me and goes, he calls me that day and says, "Coach," he says, "I want to come give you some plays." I said, "All right, well, come after school. I want to talk to you." All right. We didn't tell what it was we talked about. So I want to talk to this. So we'll come at this time. He comes, kids are getting ready to coach. And he was a little bit late, so I'm sorry I'm late. I know I'd be here, but hey, listen, I ain't going to keep you, but I got 2 plays to score. They will score every time you run them. I said, all right, well, show them to me. And, Coach, I got my pad out, and I got my damn practice schedule ready to go. I'm ready to walk out to practice. I got my practice schedule ready, and so I take out a sheet of paper out of my little thing, and I'm looking at him, and he's drawing it up on the board, and I'm drawing up the formation. I am a student of the game at this point. I'm like, all right, this is saving up there. You know, I'm like, all right, got you. And so he draws, well, you look, you got 12 now. You can't have 12. He goes, well, this is supposed to be, well, you got to put somebody else on line of scrimmage. Oh, yeah, this one. And he's drawing up the plays, and he's showing me the blocking. He's saying, Coach, I like it. I like it, Colonel. I like it. He gets there and says, hey, now let me ask this question. Does the quarterback reverse out? Does he front out? I mean, I'm asking questions. And because I know colonels are attention to detail. I serve their attention to detail. So I'm trying to be a good soldier and a good coach, and I'm asking questions. He said he got done drawing the plastic. Man, that's awesome. Appreciate you, man. I got to get to practice. And I play in my pocket. I go to walk out. He said, whoa, Coach. He said, I got 2 of them that'll score. I said, hey, if that's going to score every time I run it, I don't need that second one. He starts laughing, just like you did. He goes, Coach, are you trying to tell me to mind my own business? I said, no. I'm just saying, though, if that scores every time I run it, hell, I don't need that second play. I'm good. I'll run this one every time. And we ended up being great friends after that. But that's the fact. That happened. And Jeff Battles will sit there dying. He says, hey, how did you know how to do that? I said, listen, sometimes you just got to let them talk, brother. Sometimes they just want to talk. You just got to let them talk.
Well, you are absolutely going to have to be a recurring character on here because that is just one of your mini stops.
Dude, I got so many great ones. Hey, listen, here's what people go want to hear. I coached a team, honest to God, at Dr. Phillips, that had Barry Larkin's son, Ken Griffey Jr.'s son on the team.
Yeah.
Talking about hilarious.
Oh, I'm sure that you're definitely going to have to come back and share some more about that. Ain't no doubt.
Cats are hilarious. Coach, I'm so glad you allowed me to be a part of this.
Well, I'm so glad you agreed to do it. This is what we're trying to do because just stuff that we talk about at clinics when we get together. You know, whether we're telling stories on kids or telling stories on each other, I don't think the average everyday person understands the level of nonsense that we deal with on a daily basis.
No way.
Whether it's kids that tell us that they caught 2 cobras behind the house with the bare hands.
Oh my God!
Yeah, we had one do that. We shared that with a recruiter the other day, and we were at a recruiting fair, and the college coach is looking at us like, "I think y'all are making this up." And I'm like, "No, we call that third period. That's a normal day."
That's a normal freaking day. I had a kid one time. You know that little website for the hearing impaired where you type your messages.
Mm-hmm.
I had a parent at Pacelli come screeching up. I mean, in her car, in her nightgown. Come on, where's my kid? I'm like, ma'am, he's in third period or second period. No, he's been murdered at the Burger King. I'm like, I just literally saw him walk into class. This dummy got into Randy Grace's class, was on that hearing impaired, and it was at like the police told him that her son had been killed at the Burger King.
That's fantastic.
Unreal. You can't make this up.
No.
You can't make it up.
No, and we deal with it every day.
Oh, I'm every day. Well, brother, I love you, man. I appreciate you.
I hope to see you. You gonna be at the Nike in Orlando?
I think Coach has got me talking. James has got me talking again.
So you're speaking. All right. All right. Well.
You, dog.
All right.
Great to see you, buddy.
All right, buddy. Well, I appreciate you.
Amen. Amen. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.